Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Placces Star. Friends, today in this video we are going to react a video about Hong Kong city. Hong Kong is the most beautiful city in the world. There are many long towers, long buildings. People visiting Singapore to watch beautiful places and beautiful buildings and so many things. If you are interested to visit Singapore in future, first to watch video and watch this video first.
It's more expensive to live in Hong Kong than anywhere in the world.
Hong Kong is very expensive city. Yes. Oh. Wow.
Hong Kong has been ranked the least affordable housing market in the world 8 years in a row. And by a long
look
shot,
at that.
housing prices are now almost 20 times more than annual income. That means that a household making $50,000 US would, on average, be looking for a house that costs $980,000. And their belongings, and they basically stack these in a room in order to fit as many people as they can in the room. And yet the price per square foot for these smaller houses just keeps shooting up. I visited these homes to try to piece together an explanation for this trend, and to meet the people who are being squeezed by the world's least affordable real estate market.
Beautiful, man.
There are now tens of thousands of people in this city who live in spaces that are between 75 and 140 square feet. For some perspective, a typical parking space in the US is 120 square feet.
所以好困難，始終呢度係黑暗嘅，即係一
They
入嚟到
also
冇
speak
見唔到
Chinese
光㗎
language,
嘛。
similar to Chinese language, but they
One of the
don't
most
speak
common
Chinese
strategies
language.
for small space living is this subdivided house model. This big space that's been divided up into a bunch of tiny little living spaces. These people basically have room for a bed and a table and a few belongings. 有啲就調理，有啲就求求其其咁樣。嗰啲唱 K 啊嗰啲啦，同啲水啊嗰啲藥品啊，好簡單嘅。What makes this model work is that they have a bigger communal space where they're able to have their cooking and their washing in the bathroom open to everyone so that they can save space and save money in their actual living quarters. So this is the kitchen for this space, which is shared by 4 families.
因為每個人生活習慣唔一樣，成日都因為好少嘅事都會有摩擦，唔 OK 咯，即係好多嘈交咯。
Outside. Oh,
The tempting
wow. Look
explanation
at
here
that.
for why the prices are so high
Eye-catching.
is land scarcity. 7.5 million people crammed into this series of islands. It's going to drive up the prices. The same story in a lot of places that have run out of land that are in high demand. Think San Francisco or New York City. Okay, this might be the story in New York City and San Francisco, but is Hong Kong actually running out of land? Let's see what the drone says about this. Flying over Hong Kong, you start to see that while yes, there's a very dense urban landscape, there's also a whole lot of green space. Government land use data says that 75% of the land in Hong Kong is not developed. Now, some of that is mountainous and rocky and not easy to build on, but certainly not all of it.
25% square is developed in Hong Kong.
So I posed this question about density to 2 experts. One is a Hong Kong citizen and the other is a 30-plus year resident. Both are advocates for better urban design. Are high prices primarily the result of land scarcity?
No. No.
No.
No. Okay. There's a land use issue because lots of land is being inefficiently used or conserved. The problem isn't the shortage of land. The problem is bad land.
Land use, land management. What these experts are referring to is that of all the land in Hong Kong, only 3.7% is zoned for urban housing.
But it's not because of mountains, it's because of policy. And this gets to the heart of the explanation of why more and more people are living in homes the size of parking spaces. The first thing to note, if you want to understand the real explanation, is that the government owns all of the land in Hong Kong. Well, all except for this one church that the British built here when they ruled it back in the 1800s, and it kind of just escaped the whole government owns all the land thing. So the government owns all the land, and it leases it out to developers, usually for 50 years, in an auction process, where the highest bidder gets the contract. With such scarce and valuable land zoned for housing, real estate companies, more and more of them coming from mainland China with lots of money, will duke it out in these auctions, and will end up at an astronomically high price. Like this plot of land that was just leased out for $2.2 billion, which set an all-time record for the most expensive land ever leased by the Hong Kong government to a developer. So the way that government zones and leases land is the first part of this. The other part of this explanation has a lot to do with taxes. If you're the type of person who navigates away from this video when you hear the word tax policy, stay with me here. This place loves low taxes. It's a great place to do business because the corporate tax is low, no value-added tax, no sales tax, free market economics, low taxes. That's embedded into the fabric of this place. Look at all those low taxes doing their work, building up those skyscrapers, slapping on those bank logos all over town. So if the government isn't getting revenue from taxes, it really needs it from another source. And in the case of Hong Kong, that source is land sales.
There's a lot of the government revenues here driven by land revenues, and it's about 30% of government public financing income.
And this is the story of Hong Kong. If you are interested to visit in Hong Kong,